NFL free agency kicks off in just a day, and the Philadelphia Eagles have a huge decision to make as a new rumor suggests that they may be willing to move on from one of their better offensive players. But I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea, and ultimately it comes down to how Howie Roseman can maneuver this situation. I'll tell you, we've seen some similar territory before, so we'll get into it all. But welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a favor, like this video, go down below, and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy the Eagles coverage. We'll get into all this stuff as chaos is ensuing a little bit within the fan base. I think we can breathe a bit, but I want to start it off with a couple more players that we have not mentioned yet that could be potential targets, right? We talked about the whole Myles Garrett thing, how we going out, finding, maybe the most dominant edge rusher in the game. But over the last couple of days, some more guys have piled up. The first one is Trey Hendrickson. He has requested permission to seek a trade from the Bengals. He says it's been an honor and privilege to represent Cincinnati, and it sounds like he's on his way out. He had 17 and a half sacks last year. He had 17 and a half the year before. Yes, he just turned 31 years old. This guy is also one of the best edges in the entire NFL. He's been the NFL sack leader. So, you put this guy one-on-one, imagine what it could do for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. But the problem is that the reason he's requesting a trade, number one, the Bengals front office is atrocious. They don't help Joe Burrow out at all. They don't keep their good players like this. And, they're in a tough situation. And he wants a higher price tag. He just saw what Max Crosby got paid. So he's saying, dang, man, I want a bigger contract. I don't know if the Eagles would be able to afford it. But if so, imagine adding a dominant game changer like Trey Hendrickson. And if there's somebody who could figure it out, Howie Roseman probably could. He probably has a lot of football left in the tank, even though he's 31 years old. Now, the other option, a guy who's a bit younger, 28 years old, Harold Landry, released by the Tennessee Titans. So if you went out and got Trey Hendrickson, you might have to give up a second, third, fourth round pick. Whereas Harold Landry, you could get him for nothing. Sign him, right? And if you remember back to the trade deadline, the Tennessee Titans were talking about trading Landry, and the Eagles were named as a potential target. Now, that's the difference between organizations like the Titans and the Eagles. Why would the Titans not trade him, try to get value while he still had some pretty good value, right? The last 2 years combined, he has 19 and a half sacks, decent tackler, just very solid production type of guy. Then you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who would have already traded this guy, gotten some value. But here we are now. He's released. He's available for anybody to go sign him, and it just feels like a very Howie Roseman-esque move. So what do you guys think about Harold Landry? Let me know your thoughts down below. I could definitely see him ending up in midnight green here in free agency. And lastly, could we have a former player with a reunion at stake? How about Javon Hargrave, right? 49ers informed Javon Hargrave that he will be released on the first day of the league year next week. Hargrave will now be a free agent. So if you wanted to get another big body to stick there in the middle, right, a guy who was part of one of the best defensive lines ever, at least statistical wise, 2 years ago with the Eagles, maybe there could be a chance for a reunion, no hard feelings. I could see it happening. I could see any of these possibilities happening because Howie Roseman is the GM. And that plays part in what we need to talk about next, and that is Dallas Goedert. Now, the Eagles put out an amazing mic'd up clip from the Super Bowl, their own version, and there's just so much good material. I definitely recommend you go check it out. But Dallas Goedert here near the end of the clip says, "What would happen if we never win? I guess we'll never know." Man, that is a quote. I need to have that on my wall or on a t-shirt or something. What a quote by Dallas Goedert. This guy's very upbeat. I feel like he goes under the radar, right, with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and, Saquon, Jalen Hurts. But at the end of the day, this guy is a very integral component of this offense. He has been an incredible playoffs player. He had a streak of I don't even know how many games, with 4 or more catches. He has been very, very productive, especially when it matters most. And Dallas Goedert is in a sticky situation right now. His agent could potentially look for another team. And the reason for that is because they want a contract extension, right? There's a couple tight ends that just got paid, maybe haven't set the bar that much. Dallas Goedert and his agent are looking, going, hey, we just helped you win the Super Bowl. Our guy deserves some money. And here's what Elliot Shore Park says on Twitter. Dallas Goedert is essentially up for a new deal with not much guaranteed money left in his contract. He would be one of the top free agents available if the Eagles let him go. And he says, I think he's either getting a new deal or is going to be traded to a team that will pay him. And furthermore, he says that teams around the league now know that Dallas Goedert is available in trade and the Eagles are willing to move him. That's an important word, willing. Feels more and more like Goddard's time with the Eagles is coming to an end. So, look, you get to a point here where it's hard to extend everybody. Howie Roseman admitted we may not have the same team as we did a couple weeks ago, but here's my thoughts on this, all right? There is a fundamental difference between Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. First off, shout out to Zach Ertz, all right? He just got a 1-year, $6.25 million deal with the Commanders. Commanders don't move me. They bring back Wagner, Zach Ertz. I still don't think they have nearly enough to compete with the Eagles. But shout out to Zach Ertz, right? His career was almost over. Now he just made himself some more money. So happy for Ertz. But if we think back to a couple years ago when Zach Ertz was traded by the Philadelphia Eagles, all right, he played 9 years with the Birds, helped them win a Super Bowl. He gets traded at 30, 31 years old that season. Okay, right? Dallas Goedert was drafted after the 2017 Super Bowl, so he was already starting to emerge. You already had the younger, more explosive, fresher guy in-house, right? Here's Dallas Goedert's stats. Dallas Goedert has played with the Birds for 7 seasons, and although he has had some injury concerns and he's had some issues, this guy just helped you win a Super Bowl. I know Dallas Goedert is now 30. Doesn't feel like Dallas Goedert is 30, right? They traded Ertz when he was 30. But as it relates to Dallas Goedert, number one, the first couple seasons he was here, he was the number 2 behind Zach Ertz. So he is a bit fresher. Number 2, he's an amazing playoff player. And number 3, you are just coming off winning the Super Bowl. So when I look at Zach Ertz, right, they didn't trade him after 2017 when they drafted his replacement. No, they let him play it out a couple more years. Yes, things, fell to crap and everything imploded. But Dallas Goedert is in a much different situation. I think as a talent, he might be better than Zach Ertz. He's, again, just more explosive, quicker. He's not, as fast as a wide receiver, but he's a lot faster than your typical tight end. Great hands. Also, he's a great blocker, which I don't know if we can always say the same about Zach Ertz. But Dallas Goedert is coming off a really good playoff stretch here. And also, when you look at his potential replacement, say, right? We talked about the Eagles potentially drafting a tight end this year. Sure, they may do that, and I think that's a smart investment. And then, 2-3 years down the line, you make that guy your primary tight end. You move on from Dallas Goedert. The Eagles need to find a way, and Howie Roseman needs to talk to Dallas Goedert's agent and find a way to keep him around for the next 2 to 3 years. Maybe that's, more money up front, less guaranteed on the back end. Again, it would be easier to part with him later, but Grant Calcaterra, as much as I like him as just that complimentary tight end, a guy who can come in, catch a few passes here and there, he's not ready to be the guy. EJ Jenkins, not ready to be the guy. Uzoma, probably on his way out. So you would have to draft the tight end and bank on him being ready from day one, and I just don't think the Eagles are in that position. Plus, like I said, although Dallas Goedert has missed some time the last couple years, when he needs to show up, when it matters most in the postseason, he does it. And he's just a very productive player, very good guy. And it doesn't seem like there's much regression in his game. So this would be a huge, huge mistake if the Eagles decide to move on from Dallas Goedert and they can't find a way to pay him. Now, again, sometimes money talks, you know what I mean? But I feel like we're at a point now where this Eagles team's going to contend next year, maybe the year after, and you don't want to move on from one of your best weapons. This is a guy Jalen Hurts trusts. That's a big thing with Jalen Hurts. And even though he goes under the radar, he's still as important as AJ and Devontae and Saquon and these guys, just because he provides that comfortable security blanket for Jalen Hurts, and he just understands the offense. Overall, just a very productive player. And I think this is what we envisioned for Dallas Goedert. He's never had a 1,000-yard season, but, he has a lot of talent, and he's never complained. He's always done his job. So I don't think we can really compare this to Zach Ertz. Matter of fact, I think they need to learn from Zach Ertz, and, they need to pay this guy because he's a very good player. So give me your thoughts on Dallas Goedert down below. Like I said, last year of his deal coming up, he has really no guaranteed money left. His cap hit is $12 million, $11 in dead cap. What do you guys think happens with Dallas Goedert? Should they trade him, yes or no? Lastly, we get a few more details on the Saquon extension. The initial information that was reported, as I said when we talked about this, was incorrect. The guy did jump the gun, didn't do any homework, and here is what the actual Saquon extension is. The salary cap hit goes up slightly this season. No cap space saved by doing the extension. They lost around $1 million, and the extension basically guarantees he is here for 25 and 26. He can be cut in 27 for minimal dead cap around $3 million. So this was not about, reducing the cap hit for this season. This was simply about, we enjoy you, Saquon. You are a superstar. You helped us win. We're going to guarantee that you're here another year already as well. And that's just really brilliant, getting out in front of it from Howie Roseman. We're not letting Saquon go anywhere after this upcoming season. We're not playing games. We're going to make sure our guy is here, and we're going to reward a guy who just had a historical NFL season. So that's where we're at, man. Give me your thoughts down below. Any hot takes, bold takes for free agency? What do you think happens? I actually think that this will probably be a quiet NFL free agency start, but Howie always surprises me. Maybe they'll go make a big trade. Maybe they'll do this. I think securing Dallas Goedert is going to be very, very vital, and they need to figure it out quickly. So give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one.